This is Tito Puente Jr. Stay tuned for Flashback. Toda mi gente, dígame huepa!
This is Ann Rollins, and today I'm here with Tito Puente Jr. Tito here is what I'm told the new international star coming up. So why don't you give us a little bit of background about right now what you're working on, your new album. Tell us a little bit about it.
I have a new album coming out in January of 1998 on Composed Tropical label, La Casa Recordings. And the name of the album is Feel It, which is Siéntelo in Spanish, that's how you say it. And it consists of different types of producers: A.B. Quintanilla, the brother of the late Selena, Roger Pauletta, Larry Davis. I have different singers: Cale Alemán from Grupo Guayacán, Lefty Perez, he's a famous salsa singer. And I have India, and of course my dad plays a little bit of timbal on the album too, as well. And I'm very excited about the album. It's coming out. We're dropping the first cut, the first single, which is called Azúcar. And it's got like a mambo Latin type of feel to it, but a little dance edge. And they consider me a Latin dance artist. That's the genre of music, and we're looking for that for the Grammys.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure of the actual name for the genre. I know I heard like Salsa House King, or you know what the actual title was, but okay.
Latin dance is the actual title, the style of music that I do, and it consists of different rhythms of house dance, and also has mambo, reggae, and salsa combined together to keep the timing together. Whereas I have choruses and verses. I do a little bit of rap, and I also sing as well. So it's a nice combination.
Yeah, and can we hear any of the singles on the radio prior to your release?
Absolutely, absolutely. The first cut is Azúcar. We did a remix with Nori Cotto from the station in New York, from La Mega, and we're very excited about it. And it should be in rotation, I think, probably today.
Great. Tell me a little bit about, I just actually happened to watch the movie Selena the other night, and I didn't really know much about it. And right now, you know, Latin music hasn't really hit that mainstream. It's on that brink of that real breakthrough of coming in. The film of Selena itself told her story of how her whole breakthrough into like sort of mainstream and acceptance and all of that. How do you feel about, you know, do you feel that it is mainstream? You really have, you know, momentum rolling with that, or you guys feel like you're sort of working against the tide a little bit with the genre that you're going for? Or do you really feel like you're in there, you're almost there, and you know, I mean, I'm talking about like middle America flipping on the radio type deal.
I feel that it's actually a generation now where they're more open to different types of music. Latin music is getting more popularity and recognition through CHR crossover radio and pop. Also even R&B. There's R&B groups out there doing Spanish versions of English songs. Boys to Men, for instance, they did a whole and complete album in Spanish, and Spice Girls as well. So I feel that Latin music has a vibe. Everybody likes to do it. White, black, red, yellow, all types of genres, all types of people, all cultures, different cultures. They all like the Latin music. And I'm one of those artists where I want to take it to an international level. A lot of people consider Latin music, Latin artists have to do Latin music. But I was born and raised in New York City, so I have a vibe of different cultures coming together: hip hop, rap, R&B, salsa, house music, and even pop. Straight up pop, Billy Joel, Phil Collins. I'm also into rock music as well. There's a lot of Spanish rock bands too as well. So I think it's time, and the potential is there to cross over. Perfect example is Ricky Martin with the song called Maria, and another one is I Like It Like That by Blackout All-Stars, Tito Nieves, and Gloria Estefan, of course, who has paved the way for many artists such as myself, including my dad.
Now, tell me what it's like, you know, you have dad is set in the music industry. Do you ever get a lot of like, oh, well, sure, your life is easy, you had dad helping you out, or do you have to deal with that on a regular basis?
They always ask me that question, does it open doors for you? And I say, it usually opens the door, but I hurt my foot when I'm keeping it open. To be honest with you, the music that I do is very different than my father's. My dad is into Latin jazz music, salsa. I'm not too familiar with that music. I don't know how to read that particular style of music through timing and even musical notes. My time is a little bit more rock and roll, American style, 2/4 time. His is more 7/8. It's a musical term with a different timing within the clave and the rhythms. But what I try to do is combine what he's, accomplished and, done throughout the years, and try to combine it into a new generation sound. And it comes together very well, particularly well within Latin dance music and even regular dance music, because I've been hearing more and more of it. But it has opened doors, a few, but the doors that usually open aren't the ones that I'm looking to enter. You understand? They're more of Latin. They want me to play timbales, which I do play. And I do play congas and maracas and all that stuff, but I'm more of a producer end of things. I try to combine different sounds together. And the doors that usually are open aren't for me, but there are some that are. And I enjoy what I do. Dad loves what I do. He participates, as you could see in the video.
Yeah, I was going to say, now Dad comes along and helps out kind of thing.
It's not really helping out. It's more like I ask him to do me a favor, I still owe him 20 bucks. I was supposed to pay him to be in the video. So he does it out of love of his heart, and that to me is important because that shows true musicianship instead of just looking to cross over. Because my dad usually says, they ask him the question, "Hey Tito, how's it feel to cross over?" He says, "Cross over, I'm on my way back." You see, because he's already done that. Yeah. So that's what we're looking to do, or actually myself. And my accomplishment, my long-term goal is to get this music to the international level, into Europe, into Japan, into Africa, into places where Latin music isn't really has that much recognition.
Mm-hmm. And it must be a fabulous experience, being that you're both musicians, you and your father, to actually perform together and work together. A lot of people would love to be able to do that. And from what I see, I don't know if you can get these photos that we have, but you've got your family here, so it seems real important. Do we see any of that in the music that you do, or
I think family values are very important when it comes to music. As a matter of fact, is a perfect example. I'm working with, on my new album, Kaimani Marley, who's the 5th son of Bob Marley. Of course, Bob Marley has passed on, and it was kind of unfortunate that Kaimani couldn't work with his dad, but it's kind of nice for me to work with him because we both feel the same way, the generation thing there, and we're trying to show a different side of the family, the Marley family and the Puente family, and we're coming together, bringing that Caribbean Latin sound together. Family values are very important. I think that's what people like when they see Tito Puente Jr. They say, wow, it's nice to see that the legacy is continuing within his son. They feel I'm not doing it trying to be my father, and I'm not doing it because of my dad. I do it because for the love of music that I've grown up to enjoy. I have to say he's a very big influence on my life and the reason why I am in the industry, of course. Because being born and raised in a household where there's always music going on all the time, there's drums everywhere, you tend to grab a stick and you start playing, and then you start to enjoy it a little bit more. I think if if you're a doctor and you got tools laying around, and you start opening up your sister, things like that, you say, okay, you can be a doctor. So I was brought up into that household, and I'm very happy that, and I really have to thank my mother too as well, because she pushed me forward into getting into the music, but not to the level where I'm disrespecting Dad. I don't want to do that. I'm not looking to replace him. He's irreplaceable. Nobody can touch the king of Latin music, but I'm not looking to do that. But I am looking for his long-term goal, which is to get Latin music recognized worldwide. I really feel Dad, for the first time, performed in Indonesia, and I went with him, which was very, very amazing country, and that's in the Orient. And the Oriental people, they have tribal drums too. So percussion to them is what matters the most. There's places where I market myself and target myself, which Dad can't really interject into. A perfect example is Canada, where they love Dad, of course. But it's funny, we went out there and I performed with him one time in the Toronto Sky Dome, and I was in the lobby of the hotel, and he's signing a couple of autographs to some folks and some girls and stuff. And I came down the elevator, and my record was on the radio at the time. And I came down, and this whole swarm of people started surrounding me and signing autographs. And my dad said to one of the fans, he said, "Who's that guy over there? Who's in the middle of that crowd?" So he went over and he said, "No way, it's my son." And that's when he hit me off with the $20 thing. He said, "You still owe me 20 bucks." So he kind of like got me in that embarrassment mode in front of everybody, but it was quite hilarious. That was one of those moments where you feel that family value thing happening. So.
That must be nice, and also must remind him too, like, oh, you know.
Remember where you came from, son.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had mentioned to you before, you know, I didn't get a chance to see your father perform at Birdland. Mm-hmm. And when I did work at Birdland, like you said, I realized that I think sometimes people just think, oh, well, Latin music. Right. And there's just, you know, Latin music. Mm-hmm. And there's no, realize that there is a Caribbean beat, that there is like an Afro jazz, there is this, they're all going on. Do you see yourself trying to open that venue and sort of play the club circuit, getting everything opened up and do like a Birdland kind of thing, or local clubs?
I feel in the future that that's a possibility. Mm-hmm. Right now the genre music that I do is Latin dance, but I have the vibe for doing salsa music. Mm-hmm. A lot of people ask me if I will do a singing album all in Spanish. I'm considering it. Mostly I'm more considering, I'm being more of the artist that where I'm opening up a door for other artists. If I'm making an impact in Japan or in Germany or in France, and opening up a door for Latin music, whether it be salsa, merengue, house, whatever, it has to have a Latin vibe to it, I like to open up a door and let someone else come through. That's where I come in, the producer end of it, where I produce different artists and stuff. Mm-hmm. I have my own production company as well. So I'm more into that bag. Dad's more into the music thing itself. Mm-hmm. But I would consider doing something like that, doing the Afro jazz music, and combining it with the house.
But now that would be interesting. I was saying I just watched one of your videos, and I loved the beat. You know, it had a little of this, it had a little of that. It was a nice mixture that was going on, and I said, oh, maybe I can get him to mix me up some stuff because I teach. And I said, oh, you know, I got my little aerobics class going, but they love Latin music because most of my students it's very high, fast-paced, very high energy music. And it gets them really motivated. So I was like, oh, good, let me keep this video. I'll let them watch the video and play the music all at one time. Now, I was talking about your father again. Like you would say your mom was also very influential. She sort of said, you know, follow your music and that. What's that like? Was your father pretty much the same way? Or, I know a lot of times that when you have parents that are also in the same field, they say, well, you know, maybe you should try something else because of hard knocks. And, you know, did you get like, you know, dad saying like, be careful of this, and mom saying, oh, you know, did you have a nice balance of things, or one way or the other?
They always believed that, my mother and dad, they always believed that if I felt something, ask them and approach them in the correct manner, and they would help me out in any sort of way. I think that goes to say with any parent, if they feel that a child has a skill and a talent and they see it, they would help. And I know for a fact that my dad and mom would not help me if I did not have that skill. If I did not want to learn how to read and write music, learn how to work an engineering board and things like that. These are actually things that my father isn't too familiar with. He doesn't really know how to work an engineering board or work reel-to-reels or know how to edit tape and things like that. Of course, he's more into the arranging, composing end of things, as well as myself, writing lyrics and things like that. But throughout the years, I've taken music classes within high school and junior high, played drums, played bass. I play piano very well, too, as well. So I played a lot of different instruments, a jack of all trades, they call me, back in school. From there, I went to college to learn music, and it was by the support of my mom and dad. It's very difficult also because my father travels a lot, for him to actually sit down and teach me. A lot of people say, oh, your dad must teach you how to play drums and this and that. I had to learn on my own. I really did. The instrument was there. The tool is there, but you have to learn how to use it. And I would have to sit and actually watch videotape of him or listen to CDs and cassettes of dad playing. And not just him, because there's a lot of other talented timbale players and drummers out there. I was also into rock music, so I know how to play the trap kit. That's something mom and dad didn't think that I would do. which actually playing a full entire drum set with cymbals and the tom-toms. Then I played with a local band, and we traveled a lot. This was very heavy rock, though. It was almost heavy metal stuff.
Did you do vocals then, too?
I did, but it was more garbly type of vocals.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Really heavy stuff. Really heavy stuff. But we had a lead singer, of course. So I played drums, and I didn't try to stand out as Tito Puente Jr., the drummer of this band. It's not Tito Puente Jr. and his band. I didn't actually do that. We had a name of the group. The name of the group was Monoxide. It's a creative thing of smoke and stuff. But we kept tight over the years, me and my band. I still play with them whenever I come into town. But I always felt in my heart that Latin music was in my blood, it was in my soul. I always kept a Latin vibe. Even when playing the drums, I always had a little dance Latin edge to it. I would have the cowbell or maybe the timbal along with the drum set. And I've always had it in me. I always felt that I did. And my parents did too, so that's why they always let me branch out to whatever venue of the recording industry that I would like to do. Mm-hmm. And that's why I fell into learning how to mix and getting into studio and writing actual music, production, composing, arranging. Which is, I love doing it. I really do.
Yeah, so you're fortunate that you know how to do that. Do you feel a lot closer to your work? I mean, you must. I mean, a lot of artists, they just go in and they have an engineer taking care of all of that stuff and telling them, okay, do this and that, but you actually arrange everything and do it yourself.
It's quite strenuous. Of course, many hours in the studio drive you up the wall. It really can. But I think that's one of the reasons why I did relocate to Miami. I've been living there for 3 years. For the simple fact when I recorded in New York, I loved the vibe here, but I didn't like spending so many hours inside of a basement of a building, and you lose creativity after a while. It feels like almost you're like in a prison. You're keeping yourself in a jail. So when I relocated to Miami, I felt more of a Latin vibe because it's more Latino orientated in Florida. There's a mixture of international feel, German people, French, people from South America, Central America, and even United States. The guys from New York, they come down, you know, for the winter time. So I was getting the vibe from different cultures, and I felt so much better that I can easily record something, take my time with it, and walk outside, and there's, you know, maybe a beach there and some sun, and I don't feel secluded. So I feel much more closer to my music, as you said before. Now I feel much more serene writing a tune. And the music that I do isn't really, you know, serene at all. It's more of a dance-orientated stuff. Yeah. And the vibe in Miami is very hot and flashy, just like New York, just a different vibe.
Do you plan on touring around internationally to support the album, to really go with that international?
As of right now, we plan on heading to France. We're doing a big convention over there called Midem. Many festivals coming up, of course. Christmas I'm going to spend with Mom and Dad, of course, and the family, my sister and my brother. During the New Year, we'll kick it off on actually New Year's Eve. We'll be performing, I believe, down in Miami. Just set a little record release party for the first single, Azúcar. Of course, shoot the video as well. Get prepared for the tour we'll be doing in the beginning of March, and we'll be doing all of South America and Central America first. And then we'll head on towards Europe, and then we'll probably come back to the U.S., which is kind of ironic for a Latin artist to do it that way. Usually I'll start off in Latin America and come into the U.S. and cross over, but we're going to take it a different angle. I think the song has the potential. Everybody at the Compose Tropico also feels the same way, that the song has potential to go bilingual, and we're thinking about maybe even doing it in Portuguese, you know, or different languages.
Had you thought to do a couple of different languages, like maybe French, Italian, or whatever?
I'm open to everything. I'm open to everything. Yeah. I think that's what's great about Latin music, and what Dad has accomplished and what I'm accomplishing right now, is that the music that we do, it's not really the lyrical content, it's the actual music that crosses the lines and the barrier lines, because rap stays in a certain category, and so does you know, classical and different categories that they have. They stay in a certain genre of people. But I feel that, you know, British invasion, that's British thing, but it's here, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel that the Latin invasion needs to go over there and really blow up.
Okay, so let me just, your album is coming out January.
The first single is Azúcar. We're going to shoot a video this December in Miami, Florida with director J.C. Barros. He directed the last video that I did for Oye Como Va, which won me a Billboard Award for 1997, Best Tropical Salsa Video of the Year, which is very, to me, is very hierarchy for me because I've never won an award such prestige, especially from a magazine like Billboard magazine.
For music, sure.
Yeah, and it was kind of ironic the day when I did win, my dad won the same day. He won for Best Latin Jazz Album of the Year. So it was great. I won the award, thanked him in return. Yeah, in return he won as well. So we plan on doing a great big tour next summer. We're kicking it off in March.
And we'll see you back in the U.S. Next fall?
Most likely the end of the summer we'll come back and do some spots over here, the big festivals that they have, especially the Puerto Rican Day Parade that they have in Manhattan. Got 3 million Boricuas.
Never been around. That's a pretty big day. It starts Saturday the night before. And sort of getting over there is a whole episode. Great. And you going to play any dance clubs, or are you going to just do festivals?
We'll do club circuits and dance clubs as well. My show is my performance show. I have a band with me, along with some dancers, girls and guy dancers, so it's for everybody. There's nothing negative. It's a very positive vibe. It's for kids. It's for older people. It's just entertainment, straight up.
Great. Well, I wish you lots of luck with your new album and your single and your tour, and we'll look forward to seeing you back here at the end of the summer.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us here today at Flashback. I'm Ann, and I've been here with Tito, and I'll leave you off with just a little bit more of his music. Take a look at his video.